morning, grade 4s. Today we are going to talk about how adverbs describe verbs. Now, in this first sentence, this is how we usually see our adverbs in a sentence. So I have Paul preached fervently. My verb here is preached. That's the action that's going on. And the adverb is right after the verb. Fervently, it describes, not Paul, it describes how Paul preached. So that is my adverb, and it describes the preaching. But how, in this case, the adverb is behind the verb, but that's not always the case. Adverbs can move around. They can describe more than one verb. They can describe just one verb. So I'm going to show you a few other ways adverbs can be found in sentences. Let's look at this second one. Brilliantly, the stars shone. First of all, let's find our verb. What are the stars doing? They're shining. Shone is our verb. Now, what is describing how they shone? Well, they shone brilliantly. In this case, the adverb is way before the actual verb. So sometimes the adverb is at the beginning. I wonder if you notice a pattern between our adverbs here. They have sort of the same ending. That's not always the case, but it happens often. Let's look at this third one. He was constantly beaten by them. So in this case, he was is one of those helping verbs, and beaten is also a verb here. So now there's two verbs. What is describing was beaten? Constantly, how often it was happening. There we go. So this adverb doesn't just describe one of these verbs, it describes both of them. So we draw an arrow to both of them. And if we were writing this out, we'd have to write down both of those verbs. Next, Daniel courageously served God. What is Daniel doing? He's serving. So served is our verb. How is he serving? He's serving courageously. Courageously with the ly doesn't describe Daniel. It describes how Daniel served. So it's an adverb. Next, he pleaded his case eloquently. So what is he doing? He's pleading. Pleaded is our verb. And how is he pleading that case? Eloquently, that means well-spokenly. Very good. That's describing the verb. So in this case, the adverb didn't come right after the verb. It came way after, at the end of the sentence. So look, we found adverbs after, we found adverbs before, we found adverbs in between. We can find them in any place in the sentence. You will notice, though, a lot of adverbs have something in common. I'm not going to say what it is, but maybe you can figure it out too. Next, did you listen attentively? What are my verbs here? What is you doing? Well, they're listening, but did is also one of those helping verbs or one of those state of being verbs. So there's two verbs. What's describing those verbs? Listening attentively. So once again, our adverb is describing both of those verbs because that's technically a verb phrase. And finally, Robert was inwardly strengthened by the lesson. So what are my verbs? Was and strengthened is verbs. How was he strengthened? He was strengthened inwardly. So the adverb is once again in the middle describing both verbs. So once again, adverbs can be found before, they can be found after, they can be found in the between, they can be found at the very end of sentences, they can be found even at the very beginning of sentences. The key thing is to think, is this word describing what is happening in the sentence? And that's how you know it's an adverb. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.